What is up, guys? I'm Fight from RK, and with me today is
Glyphix. We're talking about X-Men.
X-Men.
97.
All right, let's go.
I'm excited.
Gambit.
I got Cyclops here.
Cyclops.
Yeah, Cyclops, dude.
You know, actually, in 97, Gambit is no longer my favorite character.
Why?
I think they fucked up his character a lot, to be completely honest.
How so?
So with his character, you know, in the original animation series, which this is just a direct continuation of, I think there's like a 3-month time difference. It's not long at all. One, he had a heavy Bayou, Louisiana accent.
Yep.
Heavy.
Yep.
And I think part of the reason it being so heavy was just because he was very much a showman.
Yeah.
Like, even with all his abilities, he was a showman. So the accent and the way he talked reflected that.
Yep.
And then in this series, he was very much about his own interest and what he wanted.
Yep.
Now we get into this series, he's a stay-at-home dad. It's a great way to put it.
Yeah,
he's a stay-at-home dad.
He is. Like, I definitely agree, dude. I think, like you mentioned, like, you know, he's very much into sports now.
Yep.
Very just laid back. He
Cooking.
is cooking.
What was he making? Those little pastry things?
Yeah, something, right? It reminded me more of a French type of personality versus where his original was from kind of like the South, right?
It's Louisiana.
Louisiana,
it's a
right?
bayou.
So
So the bayou is only in Louisiana.
Okay.
That's a Louisiana thing. Like, very Cajun. Think Cajun foods.
Yep.
It is a French dialect. So
Yep.
they do come from French in
Okay.
New Orleans. But
okay, so like he's just more. It's not the same, right? So for me, it's like, yeah, the best way I can put it is very soft, very not Gambit anymore. And the same thing happened with, you know, my character. Like, I love Wolverine, and I feel like
But I think Wolverine has more of a reason to have grown into this more reserved person than Gambit.
Yeah.
Because Wolverine had been it takes place over, I think, 3 years or something, the original animation series. So he's been with the school for 3 years.
Yep.
By that time, he's probably bought in with some of the people. There's some kind of love triangle going on between him, Cyclops, and Jean Grey, which we obviously know how that played out.
Yep.
But he still has feelings for Jean, and that's where a lot of the softness comes from, like just the Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
Like, it's very much, she is his weak point, his soft point. So I see where you're coming from there too. Yeah, Wolverine was very, and even like if we look at the movies, like look at Weapon X or whatever. What's the newest one? Logan.
Yep.
The Logan movie.
Yep.
He is very much still a fucking badass.
Yeah, he's just old Wolverine, dude.
Yeah.
He's just old Wolverine, man. So like for me, at least, so far, my favorite character of this season or this series has been Cyclops. Cyclops is just like so we're leaving off right now where Cyclops is just broken. He's lost Professor Xavier. He has no way to lead his X-Men. He was originally a leader, and because of Professor Xavier, now there is no person. There is no mentor.
So he was no leader. He was a team captain.
He was a team captain, and like there's no more mentor. The mentor's gone, and now we're getting a Cyclops. Like, how do I figure out how to become a leader instead? And that's where I'm really liking Cyclops' development, because you went from a team captain, someone telling you what to do and really leading you and molding you into this person, to now there is no other person you're hearing this feedback from and this advice from. It's all you.
Exactly. I'm gonna surprise you with my favorite character this season.
Who's your favorite character this season?
And I am gonna jump ahead a little bit. It's because of episode 2. So we'll go into more detail about why in the next episode, but Magneto.
Okay.
I really, really love the Magneto character right now.
Yep.
Stay tuned for the next episode to figure out why.
Yep. So let's get into it. We're talking about episode 1 on X-Men 97 now. Let's go. Ding, ding, ding. All right.
So let's start out with the first fight scene. Really, we see Roberto, or Sunspot.
Yep.
Just instantly in cuffs. He's got the collar to stop him from using his abilities, which we find out later in the episode he decided not to use his abilities.
Yep.
Just out of personal preference.
Yep.
And so he's being led into, and I know that you've talked about this and brought this up, the blasters that we see on the conveyor belts.
Yep.
And being handled during this whole first opening scene. So if you want to go into detail about that.
Yeah, I think we see a little bit reference of Mega Man.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen they're literally the blasters of Mega Man,
They're
right?
just not colored blue.
Yeah, they're colored red, or purplish, reddish.
They're like a gray to a
Yeah. So like we're going into it. It's Sentinel technology, right? and we're gonna put up the big screen just so we can show you guys the X-Men bust in. Right, and they're busting in through. You got Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm, Beast, Jubilee, everyone's Bishop. You have Morph coming in. Like the whole crew just came out, and they're like, "Dude, we're here," you know.
Yep.
And the friends, Humanity of Friends or Friends Against Humanity or it's some name like that. They are trying to kill just mutants. That's their objective. That's their goal, right? And so what I want to show you guys is the fight scene of Cyclops maneuvering throughout his enemies with his blaster.
Yeah,
which is insane to me.
I mean, the ability he's came to control, because like even the original animation, this might be just limitations in the animation that they could do back in the day.
Yeah.
But now we see the development of him and his powers and how he knows how much of the beam to let out to be able to push himself where he needs to be, because he can fuck that up real easy. Just the momentum alone to get that precision to be in the exact spot, not overshoot, not undershoot where you want to land at. He's got it down. You can tell he's spent plenty of time in the training simulators. He knows how his ability works. He feels more comfortable not only with himself now, minus the Charles Xavier aspect and trying to fill this void of being a leader, but just him as a person growing with his abilities. You can tell it's second nature to him now.
Yeah, and here the great thing is, and I'll get more into detail about the episode as we get into the show, but there's so many references from Marvel vs. Capcom. If you guys haven't played Marvel vs. Capcom, you guys need to go do so. There's so many references. Even the original animator, who's no longer with the series anymore, unfortunately, he has put in cameos on top of cameos of Easter eggs on top of Easter eggs from Marvel vs. Capcom and other shows like anime and Mega Man, etc., into this actual series. Which to me, as a fan of just video games in general, is pretty cool, man. Like, it's just pretty cool. So the deeper we get into the episode, I'll go back into why I think there's other in the series, why there's other cool moments.
One other ability we saw from Cyclops that we didn't really see either, because they zoom out to the entire building.
Yep.
We see that big blast.
Yep.
And we're led to believe it's Cyclops blasting outward.
Yeah.
So was that like a surrounding blast that he let out to stun people, or is that focused and it hit the building and dissipated? Like,
right.
I don't know what that was. That was different.
Yeah, and the great thing is like when he walks in, right, and they burst in, and the Sunspot's like, "Are you guys the good guys or the bad guys?" He goes, "We're definitely the good guys." It's just like that reassurance of like, you know, hey, we're here. So fast forwarding into it, right? So they beat the Friends of Humanity. They rescue Sunspot. Sunspot does get knocked out by Cyclops' powers because he just KO'd.
Yep.
It's overpowered. And he wakes up in Xavier Mansion or X-Men Mansion, right? And he wakes up, he goes, like, there's 20 different people surrounding me right now. What is going on?
This is probably one of my favorite scenes of the first episode too. Just, I love Beast. And I love Hank just hanging upside down, and he's like Mozart playing in the background, just classical music, and Hank's just enjoying himself.
Dude, it's hilarious with his robe, his glasses, and him just asking questions. It's like, hey, we're here to run tests and diagnostics. Ooh, I got that right. So just running through it, and Sunspot's like, so can I leave?
Yeah.
So you guys are performing test on me? And he's like, these are like PTSD flashbacks at this point. He goes, and we have Jubilee. And Hank's like, no, we're just here to help you, right? He goes, so you guys are kidnapping me. And a little spoiler alert, if you guys haven't watched Captain Marvel, go watch Captain Marvel at the end of it. Just saying, you'll thank me later. Don't watch the whole movie; it sucks. But watch the series or watch the end credits. But going into it, so Jubilee comes in and he's like, so you guys are kidnapping me? And she goes, no, we're not. We're here to help you out. And he's treating it as such, right?
Yep.
So my thing is like, she comes in, she's just like, well, if you want to leave, go. Mm-hmm. And if you want to stay. We're here to help you. And
then it's just like Storm. I think Storm comes in and mentions like, don't forget, people are after you.
Yep.
They will find you again.
Yep. It's like, we're here to help you not get kidnapped. I think that's her exact words of something along the lines of like, we're here not to help you get kidnapped. If you want to go get kidnapped, go for it again, I guess, right? So he stays a little bit, which is cool. And then going back to why he didn't use his powers, I don't think he uses powers because he just didn't want to. I don't think he could control it yet.
You don't? I think they might be setting that up because they don't come out outright and mention it. he mentions the reason he doesn't use his powers is because his family doesn't know about it, and for his family is just I'm normal, a normal person.
Yep,
that's all it is. He's a rich kid from Portugal. He's
very where Gene first started. And I mean, I think any mutant, right? It's like you don't really know what's going on with your body, you don't know your powers, and you just want to be normal. And for him, it's like, well, if he can control it, and his parents don't need to know, why not? You know, I don't want anyone thinking different of me. And he, like you said, he's very rich. So at this point, he's like, I could hide my powers to still live a normal life compared to what normal is for their standards. But, you know, just whatever he wants to do.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no reason to use his powers, really.
Yeah. So going into like, okay, well, now, you know, we understand what's going on. Now we get into the point where Jean, right, sees a flashback or sees the...
Yeah, so this comes up because they are dealing with some kind of issue trying to find where the Sentinel blasters are coming from. They're searching for Dr. Trask.
Yep.
And Cyclops brings up the only person that's going to know about that is the person that assassinated Charles.
Yep.
And so they go to there, and we see Jean in Charles's room, the psychic room.
Yep.
Forget what it's called. Do you remember what it's called?
It's cerebral.
Cerebral?
Yeah, there you go.
So they're in cerebral, whatever.
Yep.
If that's what it is.
It's the big...
Sure? Are you sure?
Yeah, it's the big thing that they put on, that Xavier put on, is a big helmet.
Yep. It's basically his room that he can use his telepathy pretty much across the world, wherever they're at. And so she can delve into the mind, and while she's in the mind, she gets a glimpse of the future, which shows her baby pretty much dying, I think essentially is what it is. And the mind mold, which sets up the head sentinel that they build of taking over the world in a future glimpse of what possibly can be.
Yep.
And this sets them, they get it, that she gets that it's from the Sahara African desert. And so now they're going there.
Yep.
But if you want to continue about what she experiences while in that mind delve.
Well, I think she's getting not just flashbacks and also the future, but it's something scaring her, right? We don't know what it is. We don't really, I don't think, well, we do, but we don't. Like, it's something that's messing with her mind.
Yep.
And so to go back into the desert part is that they're tracking him down, Dr. Trask, right? Trask. Dr. Trask. They're tracking him down because they're trying to get the mind mold of the big sentinel, right? And all these sentinels they're basically there to destroy mutants, right?
Yep.
I don't think I've noticed anything else unless you noticed anything else while she was reading minds.
While she's reading the mind, her baby kept like disappearing and coming back.
Okay.
Which leads me to believe she is seeing multiple instances, kind of like Doctor Strange, where he mentions like, I saw how many ever 1,000 different.
Yeah.
So I think something like that's happening where she is seeing different timelines and possibilities, and that's why she's afraid, because some of the timelines her baby's not there.
Yep.
Some of the timelines her baby's over there out of reach, so maybe it got kidnapped. Other timelines she's holding it and it's comforting. And so I think there's different timelines that she is seeing and possibilities that we could be building up to.
Right. And we'll talk more about her kid and her baby on episode 3 and 4. But do you know the kid's name? Do you know what happens when, and this is not a spoiler because it's part of the comic books, but when Cyclops and Jean Grey have a baby?
Yep. I actually have never read the comics.
Really? Yep. Okay. Should I tell you? I mean, it's not a spoiler to anyone.
I'd say let's bring it up when it happens.
Okay.
It's the same reason I'm holding back for Magneto.
Okay. So let's lead into the desert part, right? Because I want to show you guys this. They get into the desert and Cyclops jumps out. Everyone's jumping out of the helicopter, right? Yep. They're like, Cyclops.
The helicopter gets destroyed.
Oh yeah, helicopter gets destroyed, and they're all jumping out. And
Blackbird. It's technically an SR. It's
the Blackbird, right?
71 Blackbird.
And so they jump out, and you have obviously Jean Grey. She can do her, she can float. She can do all this. Rogue can fly. Yep. If you don't know how Rogue got her powers at this point, I don't know what to tell you. Beast is with Morph, I think, and also Wolverine. Yep. And Cyclops is by himself, and he's smiling. He doesn't need a parachute. No. And he's just going out. He lets out this solar beam like cannon from his eyes to the ground.
Thing was massive. It's like the freaking Covenant beam scorching planets from Halo.
Yup.
It is that big. Like it was huge.
So obviously you see the scene, right? And we're there. And so the reason I really want to mention this is because that's what we were talking earlier. Marvel vs. Capcom, his ultimate is exactly that. It's the hyper beam cannon, where he just launches a big beam at you through his eyes, and that's his attack.
Yep.
That's literally the same attack that was on Marvel vs. Capcom, the original one. And for them to add it onto it, bro, it just shows the flashbacks of someone who's doing this is based off, they played this damn game before.
It's kind of like Timothée Chalamet. So when he did the Dune series,
Yep.
he actually read the books. Somebody has a picture of him on the subway in, I guess, New York or something, reading the book.
Nice.
And like that in itself, when an actor takes the time, whether it's a voice actor or an animator or director of these shows, they take the time to actually research the source material more so than like Cliff Notes. Because like it's easy to look up Cliff Notes.
Yep.
All right, that's what happened. That's what I got this, and just do your own thing.
Yep.
But when you're reading enough and you're really like at this point, you're a fan of it. You can't make stuff like this and not be a fan of the source material or have inspiration that guides you through this.
Yep.
You can tell that the person that made this definitely loved the original animation.
Yeah, and it's just it was amazing. Then when we're hitting toward the fact, and we can show the screen or the series here. So when they're fighting, the fight sequence, right? And we're doing the fight sequence. Yeah. You hear the like you hear the X-Men theme song, bro.
Just subtly in the background.
Yep. And it's like you just get that nostalgia factor of we're fucking back. The X-Men's are back.
I was too busy laughing at Beast jumping inside of a Sentinel and just controlling it from the inside.
That was hilarious. And I think, but someone threw Wolverine or got blasted. Yeah. And he went through the Sentinel, and then he flips backwards, which again goes back to Marvel vs. Capcom. Him flipping that way, so him flipping backwards, and then the whole team's like just right there. No. And I love that the Charles goes, or not Charles, sorry. I love that Cyclops goes, to me, my X-Men. Yep. And then just start beating the shit out of everyone, bro.
And it shows that he has the ability to lead too. Because if you notice, nobody complained. Even Logan, who is usually the most vocal about complaining about Cyclops, instantly was there. There was no hesitation. There was no build up to like, what the fuck did he just say? No, they were all there. They were all together, and they were all on the same page.
Yep.
Which shows that Cyclops, Scott, does have the ability to be this leader figure when he believes in himself.
Yep.
That's the problem, is when he's slowed down, he doesn't believe in what he's doing. But when they're in the action, he believes in himself, and the rest of the team follows suit.
Yep. And so I like that, because now that like we had that time gap, right, of where we know the original characters, but their whole, I say almost every single character has flipped the switch, right? They're not the same characters anymore. But Logan has become that second, like the second captain, basically, right? The go-to man, my right-hand man. In case shit goes down with Scott, Logan's there.
Yep.
And he's taking that role on without a problem now. Yep. And obviously, they still have that classic headbutting situation. But I think that just what makes the best duels right there.
I think so too, because if you don't have, like, your best friend should challenge you.
Yep.
And if your best friend is not challenging shit that you say that doesn't necessarily make the most sense, then they're not really your friend.
Yep.
Because they're a yes man.
Yep.
They're there to kiss your ass, and that's it. You have a true friend, and this is real life, guys. A true friend will challenge you with what you say and will hold you accountable to your actions and your words.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what I love about those that dynamic of Logan and Cyclops, dude. Just they're I know they're pals at the end of the day, but they keep doing it. And the most weird part is that their love interest is crazy. That's kind of insane.
Yeah. I don't even think Logan. I think it was more of Logan was learning himself when he ran into Jean. And that's why she was somebody that helped him really come out of the animal aspect. Yeah. When Wolverine first came into X-Men, he's very much this very animalistic.
He's a Wolverine
character that he went off of his base instincts that he got from the whole thing.
Yep.
And then he's old as fuck. Like, the man's been around for centuries. Dude, he's been in Civil War. He's been in, I think, the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
Like, he has a very long life. And so for him to have lived that long, just following his instincts and going from battle to battle to battle to now being in a school with kids, it's a complete switch of character, and then her guiding him through that and how to transition is why he has that love interest in there. And then also when he grows up, like goes on and finds his own way throughout life after the X-Men, like when we get into Logan,
Yep.
I think it plays into more of himself and builds his character out, which is nice.
Yeah, 100%. I hope we see a little bit of that. Now, we do have a new Deadpool and Wolverine movie coming out. My theories on that is that I know that they're saying that this is not MCU related.
Yep.
Hear me out. I think with Deadpool going through different dimensions, we're going to see the Wolverine from X-Men 97 eventually in what Hugh Jackman is now, but in what the actual 97 version.
Well, we see in the trailer for that, he's wearing the X-Men suit.
Yep.
That yellow and blue suit is the X-Men suit. That's the colors. It's the style he got from when he first joined and it was when he first joined the X-Men, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. And that's what I want to see. That's a theory, right? Now, we all have our fan theories, and possibly this might not happen. So it is what it is. But at least we're getting Wolverine in live action, finally, with his actual suit.
And Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman.
Amazing combo.
That's something else, yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. There's no other actor that can play those two. And it's great to see. Now, going into towards the X-Men, right? So they just beat the Sentinels, everything, they captured the Doctor, etc. You have the United States. I don't know if it's Senate or what.
It's not United States. It's United Nations.
United Nations. Sorry, the United Nations coming down and saying, "Great job, you know, great job. We're working with the X-Men. Great job. We love the X-Men. This and that."
Yep.
Now, on the other side, who doesn't like Who doesn't like the UN? What's one mutant that hates the UN? Magneto, right? And we're like, and we'll go into deeper dive on why.
Because episode 2 is pretty much all Magneto.
Yeah. So, and if you guys want to watch episode 2, go watch episode 2 now. Or, well, I don't know, whenever this video comes out.
Yeah.
But going into the UN, they're saying a good job. They love X-Men, this and that. We'll switch back. And this is where it really gets interesting, right? Is the X-Men come home. They're just like, oh, it was, basically another day of the job. They walk in, and there's an intruder.
Well, before this, too, it actually cuts to when they're back home, they're playing basketball again.
True, yeah, sorry.
And Jean is like, no superpowers. Keep it above the belt. Keep it above the belt for mutants.
Yep.
And then they get the call, or they get the alert that somebody's broken into the professor's office.
Yep.
Then they had, and this was about the time Jean and Scott were mentioning that they were going to step back.
Yep.
They were going to focus on the baby and their family. They were stepping back, and then they get the alert that there's somebody in the professor's office.
Yep.
So then they all just head straight to the office.
Yep. And I love when they all go into the office. So if you watch X-Men, what's the other movie, Future Past or something like that.
I'll be honest, after like X2, I didn't keep track of.
Okay, so there's a movie about the X-Men when they were younger, and they all merged into like the professors.
I did watch, yeah. So I did watch that one.
So this is to remind me of that show or that movie, right? So for the show, they all burst into the office and they're all ready to go. You have Gambit with his basketball uniform. You have Logan with a t-shirt on. Like they're all ready.
Yep.
And then you see the voice. You hear a voice, right? And it's not Professor Xavier's voice. It's Magneto's voice.
And I love, actually, one thing I do like about the voice acting change has been Magneto. He's definitely now this more stoic, almost Shakespearean character.
Yep.
Instead of the brash Magneto that we've known in the past. And it's, again, because he is also affected by Charles's death.
Yep.
And I think he is kind of dealing with it in his own way. And now we see in episode 2 how he deals with that. But I think and this is their way of trying to show that he is a different person.
Yeah. And it's just like, basically when he's coming in, yeah, I was shocked by Magneto because I'm so used to the Magneto. He's very stern. He's very to the core. He has his helmet on. And I was shocked that he didn't have his helmet. He was very like saddened that Xavier has passed away. Even though Xavier and him never saw eye to eye, you can call him the Wolverine and the Cyclops of that duo, right?
Oh yeah.
And to him is like his last will was not only to take over the whole mansion, but in the will, I leave to you my X-Men.
Yep.
And Cyclops loses his fucking shit.
Rightfully so, too.
Yep.
Like, not very well deserved. Because if you remember, Magneto and Charles didn't disagree on the goal. The end goal was always the same for both. Where they disagreed was how to get to that end goal.
Yep.
And I think this is what sets up good characters from bad characters is if you can give a bad guy like Magneto, but give a reason, a good reason why they're doing bad things, it makes you as a viewer get very attached to that character.
Yeah.
And I think he had a very good reason for why he was doing it, just didn't do it in the right way and chose bad decisions to do it the way he was doing it.
Well, like he's turning more into an anti-villain now, right?
Yeah.
So it's like he's not good, he's not bad. He's kind of in the middle right now. And we get into the point where we see we get into a point where we see a round table scene of all the X-Men just surrounding him in the office, and him, Magneto, just walking back and forth, talking to him about, you know, the X-Men. And going into that, it's that, oh, we're like, he's like, Cyclops asking him, he's like, well, this is ridiculous. Wolverine's like, no way, bub. You know, he's like, there's no way you're handling this. And Magneto basically says, I don't know what to tell you. Your professor led his will to say, Magneto, am taking over X-Men in the school. So whether you like it or not, I am now the leader of the X-Men.
Yeah. He very much stamped his foot and said, I'm staying.
Yep.
And didn't say that they had to stay, though. They could have left.
Yep.
They could have left the X-Men and did their own thing. But he's like, this is my school. This is my house now. And this is my team.
Yeah. And if you want to leave, go. I'm not stopping you, which no one left.
Which builds back to Charles's wish, though. Nobody is ever required to stay at the mansion.
Yep.
People are free to come and go as they want. And I think this is the first step that we're seeing Magneto uphold Charles's wishes. Because Charles definitely wouldn't have handled it, you're mine. That's definitely Magneto's side of the character.
Yep.
Very stern, like you said earlier, to
Yep.
the point. But then he does uphold something Charles held. You can leave. It's okay.
Yep.
No hard feelings if you want to leave.
Yep.
But if you're staying, you're going to work.
And you're going to do it my way.
Yep.
And that's what Cyclops and Wolverine had to kind of just say, wow. And I don't know who it was, because I don't remember. I think it was Rogue or someone, or Storm or Jubilee. I think it was Storm, I think Storm said it, or even Rogue, where it's like, maybe he's right. I mean, this was Professor Xavier's last wishes. We have to, you know, if we love the professor, we're going to listen to him.
But they also laid out a prove it too. So the team they said, prove it to us.
Yep.
How you need to prove your intentions to us.
Yep.
Which sets up the whole episode 2, which is great.
And that's the episode, and then we're leading into episode 2, and we'll talk more about episode 2.
We get into more story, I think, in episode 2, which is nice.
Yeah, it's gonna get a little bit more, a lot more character development.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I hate that I haven't watched any more than what I've watched. I've been so busy. You know how we work.
It's so good. It's so good, man. It's so good, dude.
So guys, that's it for this episode. Unless you've got something else.
That's it. I'm excited. This is the X-Men series. I love Marvel. Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah, it's funny that, you know, usually I'm the one that reads the book and the back source material. And now we've kind of flipped roles. So now I'm going to be trusting you for source material coming from the comic books.
Yep.
I just haven't read the comic books. I'll be honest, I've read a lot of books growing up that gives me a lot of the backstory, but I just don't have the time now to do it. So,
dude, the comic books are definitely... trust me, I haven't read every single comic book. I just don't think there's ever a way to do that. Yeah. But throughout the years of just following X-Men and following Marvel through the comic books, Wikipedia, the shows, everything, it's just gotten to the point that I know a lot of the characters and the source material. But I've noticed some things that they've changed, but I also things that they haven't changed, which is amazing. Yeah. And as we get deeper into the episodes of X-Men 97, I can't wait to talk about episode 3 and 4, because that gets fucking weird.
Does it?
It gets good and weird at the same time.
Oh, man.
And you start seeing old characters. You start seeing more about why, what transpired for episode 1 transpired. It gets better. So
I'm ecstatic about this. There's so much I need to watch. There's so much I need to catch up on.
Yes.
And this does bear saying, the X-Men 97 is not MCU canon.
Yep.
It is not MCU canon. Could we see it possibly in the future in MCU?
I hope.
I think so. With the way they're doing dimensional stuff,
Yeah.
I think they could easily pitch it in and not keep it canon. It just be its own separate thing, but still be. Until next episode, guys, as always, it's been real. It's been fun. It's even go for it, real fun.
Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you on episode 2 on Realm Keepers.
Bye-bye.
See ya.